Now, can I please, I'd love to introduce you all to Alison Edgar, Entrepreneur's Godmother. She's an amazing lady, and I'm really proud to say she's a really good friend of ours. We've known each other probably for about 6 or 7 years now. And she's absolutely, fantastic at what she does. She's come from Yale. She worked for Yellow Pages and Yale many years ago, top sales lady. And she's going to teach you the most amazing strategies and sales techniques. She obviously, as Paul said, she teaches the Dragon's Den, the entrepreneurs, the Apprentice Winners. And she's very, very well connected and well knowledged up with sales. So what anyone doesn't know about sales, Alison does. So Alison, welcome. Over to you, darling girl.
Good morning.
Let me unmute you, Al. Ask to unmute. There you go.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning.
Boom. Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
I am, do you know what? Top of the world. There's a lot going on. A lot of exciting things going on. One that I can't talk about because it's on embargo until the autumn, but it's confirmed and it's a game changer. So Tracy, you'll be the first one to know as soon as I can tell you. Now I have got some slides. Can I share the screen? Can you give me permission to share?
You should be able to just share, to be honest.
I'm not gonna bore you with PowerPoint, but it helps to keep me on track. So got it.
I've just put you down as a co-host, so you should be able to share.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
On the start. Okay. Hopefully you can all still see me and the slides. So sales. Oh, do you know what? I think even the name sales is a wee bit like Marmite. And even in the sales community, loads of people now try and disguise it as different things. But ultimately, if you don't sell, you don't have a business. But I think one of the things that I teach is that, at the bottom of the screen, you can see the mission statement. When it's delivered correctly, sales and customer service is exactly the same thing. And I think, again, I know that Tracy does a grand job with the networking training, and to get people to stop just going, and I do this, and I do that, and I do the next thing. It's what's in it for them. And if you really believe that what you provide is a service to somebody, it just makes it easier for you to sell in a way that people want to be sold to. So I think I'm going to give you a little bit, and you will have takeaways. I think one of the things with my sessions, I'll explain a little bit about the journey, and hopefully that will inspire you. I'll give you some top tips that you can really implement straight away. And I've also got some webinars coming up, so I'll talk about those at the end. So as Tracy and Paul said, I think you were, my ears were burning. I think you were talking about me before I entered the room. But it has been a phenomenal journey. So originally my background was hospitality. So I worked for Southern Suns in Cape Town. I worked for Radisson in Sydney, and I never thought I would ever move into the sales community. But I was offered a job by BT, one of the first call centres that they opened in Scotland. So it's really interesting working in the small business community, because a lot of people have DIY'd their sales techniques from an old boss, and a lot of people have got really bad sales habits. The reason that my habits are good, I was taught by BT and Yale some of the biggest, best known training in the world was where I started. So again, the way that I look at it, it's a wee bit like building a house. The first thing you do when you build a house is you don't put the bricks on top of the sand, you build the foundations. And I think now, during lockdown or coming out of lockdown, it's a great time now to really look at your sales foundations. Are you kind of winging it because you think you've got the gift of the gab, or have you got really good techniques? So I think that's where my initial skills came from. I started the business in 2011. And again, I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate to this. I call it the Tom Daly time, because I'd had this great idea and I thought, oh, I can teach people to sell, and oh, I'm going to do all these things. But I don't know if I was ready. I think there was a lot of imposter syndrome. And the reason I call it the Tom Daly moment is you know, it's like diving. You know, Tom goes up to the 10-meter board. That's it. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to learn to sell. I'm going to do this. But when you look down, it's quite scary. And I think there's a lot of fear at the moment. You know, people are going, oh, I don't know if I can pick up the phone. I don't know if I can have conversations. I don't know if I can go back. I'm assuming nobody wants to buy. And I think that's where, again, you go back down to the side of the pool and you jump into what you're comfortable with. And I think this is where, to be able to keep businesses afloat, you really have to get out of the comfort zone. So I incorporated in 2014. And since then, it's really gone mad. So it has been only a 6-year journey. And in that time, you can see, you know, I work regularly with Downing Street, not at the moment, but around the small business arena. I was invited to Buckingham Palace for tea with the Queen for the work that I do to help small business. I'm regularly on LBC, BBC TV. My clients include Sky, the Discovery Channel, the European Commission. So the reason I tell you that isn't to go, oh, look at me, I'm brilliant. But I think it proves that if you can sell properly, you can do anything. And also the other thing is that it is a sort of journey, and really starting to integrate that journey, but belief in what you can do and what you can do for other people. So again, the same story that Tracy talks about, but why, you know, for me, the reason that I've grown the profile so rapidly, and again, you know, the independent newspaper and all that kind of stuff, is if people know who your brand is, they're more likely to buy from you. So I think this comes into your mindset. So again, Mike was talking really nicely about mindset and when is the right time to sell. And for me, I've really always believed that anything's possible. I mean, I promise you, when I announced the news in the autumn, literally I cried when I got the email. You guys will fall off the chair that this is possible. So if you have a little look, a lot of people block themselves. And again, feeding into what Mike was saying, fixed mindset, I'm either good at this or I'm not. And I think that's really applicable to sales. Loads of people go, oh, I hate sales. I'm rubbish at sales. I'm not good at sales. And it's the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're going to be rubbish, you know what? You probably will be. But I'm going to teach you in this session how you can change that mindset. Failure is the limit of my abilities. You know what? I tried to talk to people that I didn't know. I tried to reach to people on LinkedIn and didn't work. I don't think I'm going to do that again. I stick to what I know. Well, unfortunately, the way the world is now, you know, you look at how Tracy and Paul have changed the online memberships, because if they tried to do what they did before, they wouldn't be bringing any money into their business. They've had to find new ways. So I think this has really given us all a challenge, whether we like it or not. And feedback, you know, a lot of people go, oh, I don't really want your feedback. It was really interesting. Kieran, oh, I forgot your name when we were chatting on Facebook Messenger the other day. The lady with the removals company who's from Cardiff and moved, Emma, I think it's Emma. You know, the feedback is great to get positive feedback, but one of the things we do want is actually negative feedback, because that's how we learn, that's how we get better. So this is what we need at the moment. We need it for sales. We need it for business. We need it for life. And it's a growth mindset. I can learn to do anything new. You know, we can't do things we did before. So the things that you relied on, it's time to try new tricks, and it's okay. You know, you might start to have a conversation. You might start to look at different ways for sales, and you might F it up. But it's okay, because what you need to then do is analyze what you did, revisit it, and practice until you get good. So again, that's what I really want you to think, is with a growth mindset. I need you, every single one on this webinar right now, to think, I love sales. Woo! Woo! Because only with that mindset is it going to help improve your sales. So, you know, looking at mindset, and I think one of the things, it's really interesting, because I kind of work differently to a lot of people, because a lot of people go, let's look at the things you can do. Let's look. I get you to analyze, what are the things you think you can't do? What do you think? And, you know, again, with a wee bit more time, I would get you making a list, but I really want you, if you're making lists, write down, what do you think you can't do at the moment? For me, when I was telling you a little bit about the story, I omitted one of the things, and it's interesting. I know Helen from Bullies Out, you know, we look at, and also Dawn with the mental health charity side. So for me, I'm dyslexic, and I didn't realise, well, again, I was born in the 60s. I know I don't look like it, but again, I was educated in the 80s. And this dyslexia word wasn't around. Nobody had really heard of this dyslexia. I just thought I was a bit thick. The teacher thought I was a bit thick. She's quite savvy, but she's not quite, got the whole academia thing going down. So
that sounds familiar.
yeah. And again, I think that what I learned from that is playing to my strengths. So again, if you are taking any notes, what are your strengths? Because I think it's really important that you do, really know where your strengths and weaknesses lie. So I think for me, I mean, I can still taste the bile in my mouth of the feeling when I had to read out loud in class. And the panicking, and to me, it's a wee bit like networking. Sometimes if you're in a new network and it's coming near your 1 minute, your wee heart beats fast, doesn't it? And you think, oh my God, it's me. What happens if I get it wrong? What happens if I say the wrong things? That's that feeling of anxiety. And I think what I really learned from that was I can't write. I can't read and I can't write. And I told myself that message for 40 something years. And I've got a team that work for me. So it's not just me, I've got a team, and my team would come in, and they're young, bright people, because that's how I thrive. I thrive off their energy. And they would go, I'm going to write a blog today. And I go, oh, you write a blog? I can't write. I'm dyslexic. I used it as an excuse. I can't write. And that went on for ages. And then one day I went, stop. Who tells me that I can't write? Damn it, it's that voice in my head that tells me that I can't write. Screw it, I'm going to write a blog. And I wrote a blog, and I'm going to explain what the blog was about because it's really relevant to you guys right now. And the blog went mad. The grammar was probably rubbish, the spelling was rubbish, but the messaging, people related to my message. So it led to me writing Secrets of Successful Sales. So again, the book was scary because you do things out of your comfort zone. And for somebody who can't write, that was right out of the comfort zone. But the day the book launched, it was in March 2018, Amazon sold out. People had to wait 2 weeks to get a copy of the book. Even now today, it's within the top 10-ish, 20 in its categories. It went on to be a WHSmith top 10 business book. So I get photos from people at the airport and like train stations, like with the WHSmith book. The Independent featured it in 2019 as one of the best business books written by women. I don't tell you that to sell the book. I don't tell you that to think I'm brilliant. I tell you that because if you look at the things you think you can't do, overcome the fear, and make a plan, you can do anything you want to do. It sits here. So I want to talk about the blog. Have I got a slide on this? Hang on a minute. Oh yeah, I want to talk about what's in the book. So I'll talk about what's in the book and again, give you some top tips. So I had to strip back because when I started the company, I had never been a sales trainer. So I started a sales training company, never having been a sales trainer. So I had to analyze what the top performers did. So it wasn't just me. I mean, I was a top performer. I won the prizes. I did the trips. But what did they all do? So the first thing was the top performers knew the behaviors. So I talk about DISC, and we'll cover some of that today. But people buy people, and they buy people like them. They also, sales process. So I can see, in my screen, I can't see you all, but I can see the man from Lexus. And I don't know his name, but I can see you. But like when you look at car sales, sales in professional organizations like that, the sales process is like completely like the back of their hand. I could watch a trained salesperson and I will know the next word, the next question, the next statement that will be coming out of their mouth, because if you follow process, it's a magical dance. But again, it's really good for me, and sorry, don't know your name, but the man from Lexus, because we've been trained in the small business arena. They don't know, and the dance is a mess. It's a mess. It's not got the structure. If you know the process, sales come because you follow the process. The other thing is strategy, because if you don't have a strategy, you don't know how to get to customers, you don't know how to engage with new customers, you don't know how to sell to your existing customers, you really stunt the growth. And the last thing, and this is where I'm so passionate about small businesses. I mean, literally, I live and breathe to teach them things they don't know, because the thing they struggle with is confidence for sales. And they might be confident in their product or service, but they really struggle to sell it. And again, the analysis showed, why were they struggling with confidence? And you know why? They didn't know the behaviors. They don't know sales process, my magical dance, and they didn't have a strategy. They're just fumbling around in the dark and hoping that sales would fall. And I think going back to pre-COVID, the economy was actually quite buoyant. You know, sometimes we get lucky, we'd get an inbound, they'd seen us on LinkedIn, but there was no proactive sales going on. Guys, the way the world is now, you have to learn to be proactive in your sales strategy. And I don't mean pushy sales, buy my stuff. I mean actually a proper strategy. So, and this is, again, this is one of my favorite things. So I talked about my first ever blog, the blog that went mad, the blog that created the monster and the author that I am today. And it's golf. So I'm sure you've all heard of this wonderful sport, because you've got some great courses in Wales. But sales and marketing is like golf. And this is where, again, in the small business arena, I think the temperature is people hate sales, right? You know, I'm not beating about the bush. I don't do sales. No, I don't do that. That's dirty. That's sleazy. I do marketing, darling. I do digital marketing. Everybody loves bloody marketing and they hate sales. So let me explain why they are so important to work together, right? Because it's the togetherness that makes the dream team. So if you look at marketing, they put the tee in the ground and put the ball in the tee, right? They line it all up. So that is things like your website. Coming back to the lady with the really funky background, that would be things like your brochures, your chunky mail, your social media, your everything that you're kind of putting out in the arena to grow your brand. That's all marketing, right? Then what happens is, us in sales, we take the ball down the fairway, put it in the green, and then put the ball in the hole, right? Because only when the ball goes in the hole do you make any money. You could have the best marketing in the world, but the ball does not go in the hole. Now, usually this is where the marketing guys, if I'm doing this live, because I speak at, the business show, or I'm speaking with big organizations like, Discovery Channel, Sky, big audiences. And there's usually some smart arse from marketing in there that puts their hand up, right? And you're like, oh, here we go. And they're like, I disagree. And I'm like, okay, tell me why you disagree. And they say, well, us in marketing, we put the tee in the ground, put the ball in the tee. We put the ball right up to the pin, and you sales guys tap it in and take all the glory. And if your marketing is good, actually, sometimes it's as easy as that to do. So again, coming back to Lexus, they've got an international marketing department. They're spending millions. So actually, if they launch a new car, before you would even set foot in a showroom, you'll know about the Lexus models, you'll know whether it's got electric, seats. I'm sure they've all got electric seats, but you will know. So actually, you can have people who have come up to the showroom and said, I've looked at this model, I see it's got this, this, and this, what's the best deal you can do? And then just shut it. So if your marketing is that good, again, it doesn't happen that often, but it's good. But then we look at things like Amazon and eBay. That's not sales at all, guys. That's a hole-in-one for marketing. And that's what we all want. And it's interesting, because Tracy and Dawn are talking, and Paul was talking about it. Brian was talking about it. Passive income. Actually, you just put your online course on there, bing, bang, bong. All of a sudden, you've got $500,000 in your account. And that's the holy grail. We all want that, don't we? But actually, it's the sales part for most of us you know, most of us don't have a passive income. Most of us have got inquiries or conversations, and we then have to close. So again, if you can see, that's where the difference between sales and marketing, I think you can see sales is where we come in as people, whether that's now, you know, having conversations, or whether it's even if you're doing a DM and having a conversation on LinkedIn, that's where it starts to fit together. So hopefully that helps. So understanding behaviors is the first part, because people buy people and they buy people like them. So have any of you, I can only see some of you, but if you've ever met somebody that you don't get on with particularly well, put up your hand. Let me see some hands. Put up your hand. Yeah, the hands are coming up. Lexus man's like, no, I got on well with everyone. I've done this course before. I know the colours. So, but again, most of us, there's people we bond stronger with than others. But I'm going to tell you why. And if you are taking notes, I'd write this one down, because I think it's a real key to why you've closed some sales in the past and maybe not closed before. You know, you've lost some sales in the past. So some people are task focused, other people are relationship focused. Some people are introvert, other people are extrovert. So this is based on William Moulton Marsden's DISC. And it was one of the game changers for me. It really took my sales onto a different level when I understood this, because it meant that every sale that I made was tailored and bespoke rather than one size fits all. So to try and cement this, what I want to do is I'm hypothetically going to take you back to school, right? And I'm hypothetically going to give you an English test. And don't worry, you don't have to stand up and read out loud. It's fine. We'll never submit anybody to that. But if you think about the classroom, the test will last for 30 minutes. After 20 minutes, the red, the task-focused extrovert, will put up their hand. Miss, I'm finished. Hey, you guys, check me out. I'm a winner. You're all losers. So for the red, the task-focused extrovert, it was about getting the task done. But when the test paper comes back, oh, I didn't realize there was another side to that paper. Because for the red, it wasn't about getting the detail. It was just about getting it done. So these are the people that would read half an email. You got to have sent that in an email. I never read all that. These are the people who would be like, they'll just give me the price. I don't want all your waffle. Just tell me how much it costs. So again, if you look at your behaviors, it's because you're not one of their kind. And it's about, again, you're always true to yourself, but it's adapting your behaviors. Then we go across back to our test, which lasts 30 minutes. After 10 minutes, you've got the yellow. So you've got the relationship focused extrovert. So after 10 minutes, they're like, oh, Tracy, I love your shoes. Did you wear them in NECA? What was Richard saying? Oh my God. Alison McCall, can you get back on with the test? Oh, damn it, I forgot there was a test. Me and Trace, we're getting ready for our next party time. So again, you know, you look at the yellows, these are the people who come in and they're all full of energy, they're all buzzing, yeah. But when you would follow up, that, oh yeah, it's me, it's Dawn who? Oh yeah, Nick, oh yeah, I remembered you now. So again, for them, the yellows are quite big personalities, but they're easily distracted. They're a wee bit like Dory the fish. Sometimes half a job, Harry. Look at Tracy laughing. So that's our extroverts. So again, these guys will be quite vocal from a sales perspective in what they tell you, which again is quite good. Again, with the yellows, sometimes it's hard to get a word in, and they'll try and control. But as a salesperson, it's your job to control the dance. Then we move into our introverts. So the greens, the relationship-focused introverts. So the same thing, after 10 minutes, they will notice that Dawn's got a headache. Miss, my friend Dawn's got a headache. I think we should go to the nurse. So for the green, the relationship-focused introvert, the headache was more important than the test. And already when I talk about the introverts, you'll notice that my tone and my pace is just a little bit slower. My gesturing's a little bit slower because the introverts don't want to stand out. So if you look at that from a sales perspective, the two fears of the greens fear confrontation and they also fear change. So for you, what will happen is they'll say, I need to think about this. I need to talk to my dog or my granny or my hamster, because they don't want to get it wrong. They're thinking about other people and how it affects other people. And then when you try and follow them up, it's a wee bit like dating. They ghost you. And the reason they ghost you is they don't want to say no. So again, if you think you're a red and you're selling to a green, then you're not building that relationship. They'll ghost you because you've been too pushy with them. And the same thing, if you're a green selling to a red, it's because you've been too waffly. Sorry to bother you. I wonder, how are you feeling? The reds don't have feelings, so don't talk about it. So again, these are the fundamentals. I'm watching the recruitment guy from Bristol. I don't know your name, but I can see you're laughing. Love it. Thank you. Then we move into our final colour, which is the blue, and those are the task-focused introverts. So for the test for them, up to the 30 minutes, right up to the last second, checking the work, double checking the work, double checking the work. Did I cross my I? Did I top my T? Because for them, it's got to be perfect. So again, it's interesting because that line, the gift of the gab, usually refers down in the yellow corner, but the blues don't need the Disney parade. They need the ins and outs of the nitty gritty details. Like, just sign up for a membership. It's 39 quid. Yeah, but what am I going to get? How many minutes do I get? How many actual one-to-one referrals? What's the ROI? Blah, 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 blah. You know, so if you can see from that, from a sales perspective, if you can identify the behavior, you then have to tailor it. And again, you know, I'm going to ask again, who's ever met somebody they don't get on with? By now you will have identified your behavior, and the one you don't get on with is usually the diagonal opposite. Now, I should sort of screen this off that you're not just one colour, you are a blend. You also have a basic behaviour and an adapted behaviour. So I've sort of segmented it in together, but the point of this is so that you understand how important adaptation is. What did the top performers do? They always adapted. So again, that gives you some ideas. We're not doing that slide. So who was brought up to treat other people the way that you want to be treated? Give me some hands. Parents, guardians, you know, just treat other people the way you want to be treated. Well, I'm telling you today, your takeaway is that is bullshit. Do not treat them how you want to be treated. Treat them how they want to be treated. And that is how we sell to other people. So we are going to do, I think I'm going to cut, obviously we started a wee bit late. I'm going to tailor so that there's enough room for Q&A. I think one of the things I want to talk about, because people in sales, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. We have to change how we do it. And again, a lot of people like to hide behind their marketing because of the fear of sales. And when we were doing the research, so my new book comes out next year. It's called The Art of Getting What You Want. It's based on my TEDx talk. And it is more, it's interesting. I would never have put myself moving into a personal development field because I adore business so much, but I've been pulled in that direction because people read Secrets of Successful Sales. Weird, like literally, who would buy that book unless you were in business or sales? Well, the hundreds of people, and sold thousands of copies, that have actually changed their life with it, because the behavior stuff actually works in your everyday life. So does negotiation skills. When you're, you know, they're all going to buy my car and they'll come in and negotiate better on their Lexuses because they've got the, you know, the skills that they need. So it's that kind of stuff, but it's that fear of change, and it's a real thing. It's called metathesiophobia. So if you are worried about doing things differently, it, you know, it's justified, and it comes back to how we think. So again, for those of you who have read The Chimp Paradox, you know, we have that voice. And again, bringing it back to sales, oh, you know, I'm really worried. Oh, I don't think I can do this. And then you've got your logical brain. So again, my top tip as well, if you haven't read Chimp Paradox, Steve Peters explains this a lot better than me. So let's have a wee look at how you change your mindset for sales, and then we will have a few minutes for Q&A as well. So if you think, I don't like sales, I can't sell. That's what happens to a lot of people, and that's why they hide themselves in their marketing. Oh my God, I love marketing, love digital marketing, love social, hate sales. You know, I don't think I can do it. They're going to feel on edge and apprehensive. It makes them feel anxious. And again, you know, Tracy will know this, like sometimes people have that fear, I can't network. And when they come, they're all anxious and they're worried, and then they fumble their words. And it's got to start here. It comes here from between your little ears, or big ears, depending if you're me. And then what happens is their behaviors will mean they'll shy away from sales. They'll procrastinate. They'll overthink. Oh, what happens if this happens? What happens if he hangs up on me? What happens if she does this? What happens if she says that? And then again, it just goes round in that circle. It's the CBT circle. Again, these are not my techniques, but this is how it works. So what I need you to do, and it's interesting because positivity, you know, when I'm doing the new work, the new book, I've been asking for some words to describe me so that I can look for the new title. And it's things like energy, positivity, you know, proactivity, fun. And it's how do I stay in that mindset? Because as Tracy said, I've known Tracy for 6 years, and she's like, what you see with me is what you get. I'm like this all the time. So I think it's really important that we look at how you change that mindset. So if we look at the growth mindset again, you know, how do we do that? So for me, one of my top tips is music. So it really starts to put you in a good frame of mind. So and the routine in my house is at 6 a.m. Alexa goes, good morning. And then she'll say, the weather is, the news is, and then she starts to play the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun. So every day the subliminal messages, today is going to be brilliant. Then my next go-to song is Take That. Today, this could be the greatest day of your life. Somebody in lockdown won 58 million quid. I'm sure that is the greatest day of their life. So if you wake up thinking like that, and again, taking that into sales, I can sell. I want you all, right? Literally, you're all on mute, but I want to see mouths going, I can sell.
I can sell.
Woohoo! So what that does then, it starts to make you feel more positive. And you become quite excited. As a result of this, you know, you're going to be off of this in 10 minutes. I want you to get on those conversations. And I don't mean marketing. I mean, and it backs into everything that Tracy and Paul say. The fortune is in the follow up. But it's not just banging in an email. Oh, it was really nice to see you. Glad you enjoyed it. If you need any of my stuff, you know where I am. Don't friggin' waste your time on that shit, because nobody's going to reply. Have a conversation. But the other thing is, you know, another thing, you're starting to tell my colours now, I'm sure, aren't you? You know, if you're a green and you're dealing with a red, they ain't got time for no coffee. You know, what do you want? You know, let's have a coffee. Well, what's the purpose? Again, if you're a red, you can't be forcing people to buy your stuff. So again, it comes back to those behaviors. But if you're excited about sales, then what happens is you will pick up the phone, you will have a Zoom, you will follow up. See, Tracy, got my line in there, follow up. And again, what will happen is you'll have some really good conversations, which will lead to sales, because sales predominantly is a numbers game. The more effort, the more you do, the more you sell, voila. And then again, because you've had a good day, you think, God, I can sell. I'm really quite good at this. And the more you do it, the better you become. So I did mention as well, a couple of things. Obviously, the book is on Amazon. It is The Dogs. It's got 131 5-star reviews from people I don't know. I don't know what I do. I don't know how I do it, but people bloody love it. So again, know your strengths. The other thing, and this is really interesting, like the day job is when I'm speaking at the corporate events, you know, if I'm at European Commission or Sky, like they pay, it's like $6,000 for an hour they pay. So that's where the bulk of my money comes from. Or if I'm doing sales training with organizations, again, you know, like the team at Lexus, whatever, you know, that's like a $3,000 gig, you know. So a lot of the big money comes from there. But my heart and my passion lie with the small businesses. And one of the things I'm sure that you will all recognize, that in the 40 minutes I've spent with you, there has been no, you know, everything just leads into a big upsell. I've given you quality content that you can use straight away in your operations. And that's why I do things at a price. So we're doing a series of 4 of them every Friday, 2 till 3, covering the 4 key pillars of sales. And it's 40 quid plus VAT, right? I mean, it's nothing. And the reason I'm doing it for that fee is you have to pay, because if you don't pay, you don't value it. But it's to help people get through the struggle. So I'm sure you'll agree from the quality of the content in there that if you haven't got enough that you can implement today, I would sign up for the 4 of them. And if you can't make them, you get it recorded anyway. And then you tell me, if you can't bring back 48 quid into your business after my webinars, I'll eat my hat. So I think that covers everything. I could have talked all day, but we've got a few minutes left for questions. I would absolutely adore to take some of your questions. I don't know whether Tracy's going to unmute it or whether you want to do it on the chat.
I think it'd be easier if anyone would like to ask a question, if you can take the share screen off so I can see. Oh, I can see the chat bar. That's okay. So if anyone wants to ask a question, pop it in the chat bar now. And if you can unmute yourself, that would be amazing.
Tracy, I've also put the link into the webinars in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's cool. So does anyone want to unmute themselves quickly? Because there doesn't seem to be anyone. I'm sure there's one of you might want to ask a question.
Can I ask a question, Tracy, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course, Gary.
I really do apologise. It was fantastic like at the beginning, and I got taken away on another call, and it was the first opening like 10 minutes was absolutely fantastic. It was sort of this the school that I went to as well. I was brilliant stuff as well, going, oh yeah, great. I'm one of these guys now at my age. I don't get motivated by much, but apart from Wales beating Scotland like in rugby, but that's something else for sure. Absolutely love the accent. Definitely sign up this. I get the guys and work onto it. If you could send me this presentation over so I can run through it with some of the sales team. And thank you very, very much for that. That was one of it's usually I listen to boring people, but you were really good, fair play. And I don't often say that to people, but you were really good.
Introbiz doesn't have boring speakers on, Gary. You should know that by now.
Well, there's only been a few. I don't know. No, he's joking.
Tracy, I thought that Gary was going to say he was getting excited when Wales beat England. I was not expecting the Celtic card to come up in that.
No, that's euphoria. It's excitement with Scotland. When we beat England, that's euphoria. But there you are. We didn't play Scotland this year. I'm sure that we can get you a couple of tickets, Paul, and you can come down and join us in the corporate hospitality. I'm sure we do that when Wales are playing England. When Wales are playing Scotland. And hopefully, I don't think it will be, from what I can understand, speaking to WRU, but I don't think that will be next February. I think it could be a little bit longer than that. But you are more than welcome to come down. You could be our guest with Paul. We'll try and get Paul dressed up because I'm his fashion designer, as I tell everybody. And it is a Hugo Boss kit.
You know what? I would love that. I would really, and I'd check, and that's the thing. When people extend an offer and other people are afraid to take them up on that, that ain't me. You give the offer, I'm there. Just give me the date.
That's the only dinner anyway, because you did dinner at yours last time, and we've been on about coming over for ages. So you come over for dinner, stay at our house.
Yeah. I'll get a couple of tickets when we get Paul there as well, and Trace, and we'll go down like the rugby. It introduces some great networking guys down there from all different sectors, albeit Paul knows like some of them. Yeah, I absolutely look. I owe Paul something. As long as it's not money, I owe him something because he's been and Paul, I'll catch up with those other contacts later on today.
Lovely. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
I got to shoot off. Great to meet you all.
Bye, Gary.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Gary.
Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, David Davis and David Rice have got one. So David Rice was first. So David Rice, if you'd like to ask a question and unmute yourself, please, that would be amazing.
Hi, Alison. Thanks for being my new LinkedIn friend as of yesterday. It's an honour. So obviously now a lot of the initial contact with clients is online. So it might be we use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to sort of communicate with people. That initial contact, obviously you don't know the personality or the profile of that person at that point because you've not had that engagement. Yeah. What does a first catch-all communication look like? Because I get loads of these things and I feel, and I do it, I send them, but I feel quite guilty. at the same time, because I'm fairly new to being in a sales role, which is effectively what I'm doing right now.
I tell you what, it's a really good question. I'm hot as hell at that, right? Because the stuff that I teach around the behaviors, I can tell from looking at somebody's LinkedIn photograph and their profile what color they are. So if you look at like a red, for example, and again, I get you to analyze, you've obviously heard what I was talking about, the colors, you kind of get a feel for what you think you are. I'll give you an overview. So if it's a red, like a red photograph will be like this. Like it'd be confident, it'd be right down the camera. Again, might have a branded logo, might have an award in it, you know, because they're extrovert. Look at me, check me out, I'm brilliant. The yellows might even have a pina colada and a selfie, because they're, you know, really they're not picking up the fact it's a professional photo. The greens, probably, can you see that? Like I'm away in the distance. I might be on a beach in a forest. I might have a picture of my dog or my kid, or, you know, it won't be like that. It will be further away because they don't want to stand out and take the limelight. They might not even have a photo. They might just have the dreaded grey egg. The blues will tend to have a professional photo, but you can, again, you've got to be careful because sometimes they're told what to wear. You know, again, it's a group photo, not a group, but a you next. But the blues will tend to have, like, you know, sometimes they won't necessarily feel as comfortable on camera, so maybe looking to the side. Usually the extroverts will write in the first, the introverts in the third. So I can gauge what colour, but it's all about questioning techniques. Now, that to me is the most important thing in sales. We haven't covered that today, but I promise you, it's about not selling too soon. It's about engaging. So again, if it's a yellow, I'll go, oh, hi, David. Thanks for connecting. Love the fact, again, I'll go, love the fact of this. You know, I'll really extenuate my words. And if it's a green, hello, David. I hope you're well. You know, and again, I'll tailor the message. You can't use the same message every time. But I want to tell you a wee story about LinkedIn. And I think this is important. How are we doing, Tracy? 2 minutes, right? I think this is important, right? So, always be looking at who looked at your LinkedIn profile. So for example, two things, I've had two huge things happen just from two people looking at LinkedIn. If their second connects, I'll go, hi, see you're based in Kuwait, or see you work for European Commission, would like to connect. Because again, that's good prospects for me. Then when they've looked at the profile, oh, hi, David, I noticed you looked at the profile. Were you looking for something specific or just widening your network? Actually, I was looking for somebody to run the first event in the Middle East of its kind to teach entrepreneurism and sales, right? That's a lead. That's the marketing stuff. Then I took that off and sold a Zoom. So again, you're selling the next step of the sale. So I sold the Zoom, and bingo bango, I ran a massive event in Kuwait, you know, speaking a huge fee. And as a result, during lockdown, I've been working with one of the guys on his new startup business. Again, huge fees. That was from somebody just looking at my profile. So if you're B2B, it's the dogs. You really need to get a crack on this. We've got in the book, I talk about LinkedIn in colours. If you book the webinar, I'll give you a free ebook on it as well. If MD books today, I'll give them a free ebook.
Brilliant. Good advice there. And just touching on that there, we've got a brilliant new company joining our network who are LinkedIn experts on connecting people. I've just done a big sponsorship deal with them based in London. So you'll see these guys hopefully next week online, and I'll connect you members to this company who target specific companies to connect you on LinkedIn. Amazing company we're working with. So that's a good strategy out with LinkedIn.
I mean, for business to business, I mean, you know, people have spent years, and again, I get asked all the time, is cold calling dead or alive? It's not 1984. We don't have to do it. Why would we go through that pain of speaking to somebody? Can I speak to the person that deals with your website? Can I speak to the person that deals with your IT? You know, screw that. That's bad research. That's lazy selling. And that's why when we get cold calls like that now, we just don't engage with them because they're just lazy and they're not doing the job properly. You know, you don't have to do that. Not at all.
I think, no, that's right. Absolutely, you don't. And one more question, Chris Churcher. Is he still online?
Oh, David's got Chris had the same question as David.
Yeah. Sorry, Tracy, I had the same question as David.
David, just one more then. I think David.
Great minds, Chris.
My question is slightly similar but different. When you're presenting online, it's actually when you're presenting online, it's actually more difficult to get your own personality over to the audience and get the energy into the presentation than it is if you're presenting live. If you're presenting live, you can stand, you can use your arms, you use your whole body. When you're presenting online, that's not quite the same, is it? Have you got any suggestions on how to do that?
Well, two things. Again, it depends whether you're marketing yourself online or whether you're doing a presentation online. It was one of my, if I'm marketing online, it's about everywhere you go, you'll never see me not wearing pink. So like I'll stand out in a room. So the brand speaks for itself. I do a lot of videos. And again, because people buy me when they hear me speak. So interesting, that question, because I had a guy today who said, oh, you must be really struggling with engaging the audience when you're not standing up the front doing that. Actually, no. I mean, I feel that I'm just as engaging on video as I am live. And obviously, I cut the session a wee bit shorter, but I've got some tools that we use that we do, like you do it on your phone, and I bring up a word cloud on the screen, and I go, oh my God, somebody thinks in a blue, somebody thinks in a red. So I'm kind of loving lockdown in the fact that I am getting paid to speak at events. Not this one, obviously, I'm volunteering my time for Tracy and Paul, but and I can do it from my sofa. And again, you could tell me different, but I feel that, again, I can keep the energy up the way that I did standing up. So I think, again, that's if you think you're going to be engaging, you'll feel engaged, and then you'll be more positive. Whereas if you think, oh, I'm doing this and I'm here, I'm not going to be as engaging, I think that's a mindset thing.
I've seen, Paul knows, I've been on the call with Jarek Robbins, who does a Friday evening call. And he's great because he actually has an iPad, and all his energy goes into the iPad, which sounds weird, but it actually works because it's always sketching on his iPad. So there's always something happening on the screen. Yeah. So it's actually the same sort of, it's converting energy from him.
Yeah, and I think this is where the tools I use is a tool called menti.com. And again, if I'm doing a presentation for a longer period of time, I'll do at least 2 interactive exercises. Yeah. And you can see, again, from my slides, I don't have wordy slides. I've just got pictures. And again, that's because of the dyslexia. But I think having that, something exciting going on and the engagement of the speaker, I think it's possible to do it. I definitely think it is.
No, I'm sure it is, but I'm just wondering what tips you have. That's great. Thank you.
Brilliant.
I think you're going to be engaging, and then it feeds through.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Oh, Alison, you've been absolutely amazing. And I know there's a couple of people in the chat bar that said that they'd like to do your webinar. So for ladies and gents who want to access Alison's webinar, if you message me on info@introbiz.co.uk, and we'll get those bookings sent across to Alison.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, Tracy, don't worry if they can't make today's one, because it's all recorded. So they do come as a series, and it's the 4 jigsaw puzzle pieces that make it happen. So I wouldn't worry if they can't make it, because they still get it for lifetime access.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's what I do with mine as well, which is brilliant.
We'll send an email to everyone online today as a follow-up email.
Oh, Andrew East has just signed up online. Brilliant.
From Carly, and we'll put the links in the email today that Carly will send out to everyone online.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me, Ken and Barbie.
That's all right, Al. It's great to see you. And I look forward to seeing you in the flesh when you come over, because you'll have to come over. And Gary will that off.